Excited.
Oh, I get a new scribe.
That's okay, I turn it
A stylet, it's called, not a scribe. Okay.
So Tom, even after the meeting, if you want to follow over, and I'll give it to you then too.
Okay.
I just didn't think you or Gary were going to be here.
Are we gonna, is there a session for Gary? Because you're not just gonna hand it to him.
Oh, I'm going to just hand it to you and say, have Cheryl show you how to do it.
That's mean.
I have 7 on
We came
mine.
back a little
Are you
early
ready?
because we caught
Yeah.
so many fish that the freezer was full. We couldn't make drink for our coffee. It was a horrible situation. So we
Yeah,
came
I'm
home.
sorry.
Horrible, horrible.
Where did you go?
We went out south of Nuka Island.
Is the recording on?
Okay,
Where's that?
guys, we're ready to go. We're on red.
No.
Harris. Harris.
I call to order the August 3rd, 2021 meeting of the Seward Planning and Zoning Commission. Commissioner Ambrosiani, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Verde,
Here.
Ambrosiani,
Here.
Charbonneau,
Here.
Sullivan,
Here.
Eklund.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you.
You're not going to call me?
Oh, sorry. Cease.
So, Swan.
So that's a
Swan. Sorry, you crossed off on my list. It's confusing.
You can call him Steve then.
Okay.
So you'll cross off Gary and
And
put Tom back in.
Thank you, Tom and Courtney. That brings us to item number 4, citizens' comments on any subject except those scheduled for public hearing. Do we have anyone signed in?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have Carol Griswold.
So those who have signed in will be given first opportunity to speak. Time is limited to 3 minutes per speaker and 30 minutes total time for this item. So this is for other items than those scheduled for public hearing. Please come forward, Ms. Griswold, and state your name and address for the record.
Thank you. Carol Griswold, Inside City Limits. Regarding Resolution 16 and 18, maps are the core of good planning and understanding. Cramming all of Seward city limits into one sheet does save paper, but it obscures the scope of our city. There should be a full-size map showing all city limits with additional detailed full-size maps, not chopped up into tiny inserts. Japanese Creek and the transfer facility just drop right off. A lot is happening over on city land on the east side of the bay, including Nash Road, Mount Alice, Smick, the prison, quarry, tidelands. We need to see it on a separate large map to plan for it. The key should include the abbreviations used in the map. Resource management should not be the same color as institutional. Current map shows light green for RM. The white zone north of Dick Graff should be labeled and colored light green for resource management. Current map shows CBD south of Alaska Sea Life Center. This map shows white. If the tidelands are zoned, be consistent and label and color code them all. The street names are very hard to read with the broken up and irregularly spaced text. Barnell Street does not extend south into the institutional zone owned by the Marine Sciences Center. That road is a utility easement. Ferry terminal is no longer exists east of the harbor. If these features are included, they should be accurate and legible. The ordinance numbers references should be provided on a separate document that includes all city land, not just the main detail map. This would also leave the zoning maps clear and clean. My time isn't running, Courtney. I hope you had a chance to read these comments that I shared about the municipal plan on Friday by email. I will give them to the planner for the record. There are still many typos, errors, and omissions with this update. There is no formatting. It is not the Small Boat Harbor. Scheffler Creek is misspelled. 204 Low Canyon Road is surplus. There's no water tank on Hemlock. On page 50, the headings fade to light gray. City does not own tidelands in the middle of the bay, page 86. Which parcel is the tidelands mitigation site on, page 88, on and on. I especially want to advocate for Spring Creek Campground to be rezoned to park, and that public access and upland parking to 4th of July Creek be platted. Rezone the bench to park. Maps should include public easement access. The conservation overlay map should be included. This extremely important document is not ready to send to council for approval. And a comment on the minutes. I didn't suggest that you not meet for the holidays. I suggested you not meet for the summer. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else signed in for comments at this time? No?
Madam Chair, there is none.
Okay, that takes us to item number 5, approval of agenda and consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Motion by Charbonneau, second by Sullivan, and the only item on the consent is the regular meeting minutes. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda at this time? Seeing no hands, I will ask for a vote on the motion.
Courtney, do you want me to do that?
You're
We
taking
need
minutes.
a vote for approving agenda and consent agenda.
Yes.
Charbonneau,
Yes.
Swan,
Yes.
Verheer,
Yes.
Ambrosiani,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Epperly.
Yes.
That is passed and approved.
That motion is passed and approved.
And the item on the consent agenda that was approved, as I mentioned, is the July 6th, 2021 regular meeting minutes. Okay, so we are on item 6, special reports and presentations. City administration report, please.
Madam Chair, a couple things. We've been meeting, Community Development has been meeting with the contractor for the Seward Animal Shelter build to move that process forward. The delay did cause a couple of months of extension on the end of the on the completion date. It was originally May. It is now the 1st of October. But we are moving forward there. Really great contracting team to work with. They've already given us agendas. We're slipping through and meeting with them every week until the project's complete. We had a meeting with McSwain Associates, which are the appraisals. The appraiser, they have been appraising the Fort Raymond property, which is where the Chugachmute sale is happening. 2 lease areas over at SMIC, the city annex building, as well as the top lot on Dora, and the UAF property lease that's right next where the fish hatchery, or the shellfish hatchery is. So they're getting the process of, we will be in the next couple months seeing a replat, because there's 2 leases on that, and we're going to replat it so each lease has their own instead of a sublease. So that will be coming forward. We, as everybody knows, we had a tsunami warning on the 28th. And community development did come and set up the EOC and also did the logistics for that EOC setup. It went really smoothly, I think, and pretty much everybody else does too, so we're doing pretty good there. There was a couple little quirks that we need to work out, but we already had one follow-up meeting with city staff, and then we are reaching out and going to have another follow-up meeting with stakeholders on how they reacted and what they've done and how we can make it easier for the public to know what's happening. We are working on quotes and research of a columbariums with the American Legion and the Pioneers. In the CMR for next week's next week's council meeting, we've added some frequently asked questions of what a columbarium is and why we need them. Courtney and I today attended a Rotary meeting and the Historic Preservation is working on the finalization of their historic walking map with their signage. Marianne Bonet had done a beautiful presentation. It's really informative. They plan on playing it down at the museum. They've got a couple more tweaks to the map, and then they'll be printing them and handing them out. I'm just going to give you this so you guys can look at it, but it's not the final. But the signs look really great. They've had a lot of volunteers, and they're hoping to have them all up by the 1st of October. And then, that's it. That's all I have. That's
Okay.
it.
That's plenty.
And were you gonna talk about these or not?
Oh, yes, you're right.
Okay.
See, I forgot already. So I've given everybody, except for Vice Chair Swan, a Surface Pro, a stylus, and a charger, as well as a policy breakdown of using the electronics that are provided to you by the City of Seward. I will need your guys' numbers. Your all serial numbers are attached to that document, and once you sign it, return it to me. We'll scan it and send you a hard copy of it. The Surface Pros do not have a password right now if you guys choose to put a password into it. But our goal is for the September meeting, you will not have any printed copies. We will do it all via Surface Pro. Our plan is to put our, not only in legislative history, but we will also be putting our packets on the community development webpage, so you can just click on it and then download it to your Surface Pro. We are more than happy to sit down with you, walk you through the initial setup if you need it, and there is a PDF auditor, I think that's what it's called, that's on the site that when you click on it, you'll open up your PDF, you'll be able to write on it, you'll be able to type notes, do whatever you'd like. They are touch screen, but they also have the stylus to help you for other access. We also, if the commission would like, we can, before the next work session, have, 20 minutes earlier, have you guys arrive 20 minutes earlier, so we can just walk you through it if you'd like.
Thank you. Any questions for the administration report on the commission? All right, so moving on. That takes us to 7A, unfinished business items, which there are none. So we're on B, new business items requiring a public hearing. And Resolution 2021-017 of the Seward Planning and Zoning Commission granting a variance from Seward City Code 1510-20 signs to Harbor Street Creamery, permitting an exception to the zoning code to allow for an awning sign located at 305 South Harbor Street, Seward Small Boat Harbor, Lot 1, Block 8, in the Harbor Commercial Zoning District. So at this time, I'll open public hearing. Is there anyone signed in to speak on this item?
Yes, Carol Griswold.
And Madam Chair, just so you know, I'm going to have Planner Greenhurst do this public hearing so she can get some, so she might have some questions. Just
Do this public
She's going
hearing.
to do the administrative report.
Okay,
And this is a 5-minute or?
this, yeah, public hearing is 5 minutes. Those who are signed in will be given the first opportunity to speak. So 5 minutes for Ms. Griswold.
It's on.
There you go, okay. Carol Griswold, inside city limits. This variance is confusing. The resolution title calls for an exception instead of a variance to the zoning code. The first whereas in section 1 say the awning will be over the north entry. The application clearly states south entry several times. The creamery is located in Harbor Commercial District, not institutional zoning as stated in section 1. Staff photos of all 4 sides of the building on this parcel would have been very helpful to visualize the signage. The creamery has signs on the northeast and west side of the 2-story east wing. another side facing Third on the west side, and one facing the south parking lot. The other businesses have signs all over the place too, plus the dog sled building with its large sign squeezed onto the corner along Third. The clutter of signs that existed prior to the changes in the sign code in 2019 are possibly illegal or nonconforming. The sign code specifically addresses the Harbor Commercial District. Many buildings there have multiple businesses, yet are not cluttered with signs. This application raises the opportunity to review all these signs for conformance with the current sign code and bring them into conformance with the code. This awning sign is charming and sets the tone for the other businesses. However, by allowing it in addition to all the other signs only adds to the clutter, even if the existing North Creamery sign is removed. In granting a variance, the Commission may attach conditions to carry out the spirit and purpose of this code of moderating the size, number, and obtrusive placement of signs and reduction of clutter in the public interest, unquote. One way to comply is to allow the awning without the sign, or address and reduce the size and number of the other signs plastered all over the building. I believe the applicant owns this building and manages the leases and signs. Page 5, section 3I. If this variance is granted, the owner could request an awning sign or larger signs for his other businesses in this mall for the same purpose. A considerable boost in advertising and comfort for our business. Page 5, section 3II. What special circumstances require this 48 square foot awning sign? The code allows for 25 square feet or less for a marquee sign. The creamery has excellent frontage and visibility. The awning, without the sign and clutter, could still be provided to extend customer comfort outside as per the applicant's request. This parcel looks like a sign war, with bigger and bigger multiple individual signs competing for attention. The sign code purpose states to promote the protection and enhancement of the historic charm and natural beauty and the visual character and identity of the community by thoughtful placement and design of signs. Please take this opportunity to follow the purposes of the sign code and allow this nicely designed awning sign with the condition that the other signage on the building is addressed and reduced to 200 square feet total first. Otherwise, allow the awning without the sign to provide comfort to the outdoor customers. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak at this time?
No one else has signed in.
Okay.
Madam Chair, the applicant is in the audience if you have questions.
Thank you. Mr. Park, did you like to speak at this time? It's not required. No? Yes? You no. Okay. All right. Okay, so at this time I'll ask for a motion so we can put it on the floor for the staff report and then discussion. Motion made by Ambrosiano.
I'll second.
Second by Charbonneau. Okay, staff report please.
Okay. Resolution of the Seward Planning and Zoning Commission granting a variance from Seward City Code 15.20 signs to Harbor Street Creamery, permitting an exception to the zoning code to allow an awning sign over the building entry to be permitted on the premises located at 305 South Harbor Street within the Harbor Commercial Zoning District. Whereas Harbor Street Creamery has applied for a variance from the Seward Planning and Zoning Commission to place an awning sign over their north entry. And whereas the proposed location is within the Harbor Commercial District. And whereas Seward City Code 1520-055 allows the Planning and Zoning Commission to grant variances in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the code, so long as the spirit and benefits of the code will be preserved. And whereas the Commission may vary the rules and regulations or provisions of the code, provided that the Commission, upon due and diligent investigation, makes specific findings that all of the conditions listed in Seward City Code 1520-055 have been considered, and whereas as required by City Code 1501-040 public hearings. Property owners within 300 feet of the requested variance parcel were notified of the proposed action, and the property was posted with public notice signage. Youngin Park has applied for a sign variance from the Seward Plan and Zoning Commission to install an awning sign over the entry to the Harbor Street Creamery. The awning would be 48 square feet and project out 3 feet. According to Seward City Code 1520 signs, a single parcel can have a maximum of 200 square feet of signage. The parcel which the Harbor Street Creamery is located already has an excess of 200 square feet of signage and is a non-conforming lot. Adding or replacing signage on this parcel would add to the nonconformity. However, the Seward City Code does not address if allowances should be made for parcels which contain more than one business, which is the case for this particular parcel, which has a total of 6 businesses. Youngin Park has also stated that the awning sign is not simply to add signage, but in lieu of the recent pandemic and the need for social distancing, he has had more customers waiting in line outside or wanting to eat their ice cream outside. By installing an awning over the entrance to his business, he would provide additional space for his clients that is protected from the typical rainy weather in Seward. Staff comments. There were no comments from the staff. Public comments. Real property owners within 300 feet of the parcel were notified of this proposed sign variance. A public notice sign was posted on the property, and all other public hearing requirements of Seward City Code 1501-040 public hearings were complied with. Any comments received after this publication will be presented as a laydown to the Commission and the public at the August 3rd, 2021 meeting. Well, recommendation based on the findings provided in Resolution 2021-017, staff recommends granting a variance from Seward City Code 151020 signs to Youngin Park, permitting an exception to the zoning code to allow for an awning sign over the entry of Harbor Street Creamery, located at 305 South Harbor Street, Seward Small Boat Harbor, Lot 1, Block 8 in the Harbor Commercial Zoning District.
Thank you, Courtney. Okay, I'll open it up for discussion, and the maker of the motion. Oh, would you like to make any comments first?
Clarification, is this on the north side of the building?
So, yeah, looking at
Just a minute. If you want to speak, actually, we're asking the staff first, okay? And if they can't answer it, we'll ask for one of you to come up, state your name and address for the record, so it's on the tape recording, okay? Thank you.
Madam Chair, yes, it is on the north side of the building facing the South Harbor Street.
So
Where their
I
deck
believe
is.
it's over the deck.
Yes.
Yes.
Where you wait
Yeah,
in line.
well,
Yeah,
there's deck on
a
the
door.
side,
Yeah.
too, and I just wanted to make sure.
Right.
Yeah,
there's-
it's over that door that's facing the SouthArbor Street.
So facing
the fish
True
house.
Value Hardware.
Yes.
Yeah, facing the fish
Okay.
house, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to clarify that. And then, so the variance is because there are other signs on the building that put it in excess of 200 square feet?
So the building, as stated in the staff report, has 6 other businesses associated with it. It is not owned by Mr. Park. It is owned by another leasee. And the signs, the staff did go out prior to this variance and looked at the signs, took pictures of the signs. There are you have 6 different businesses and 6 possible 200 square foot on every single business, because that's how it was done. They were allowed to have these things. Mr. Park did not realize that he had to apply for a variance. He came in, worked with the staff, and the sign company also worked with us on various occasions to make sure that he was following all code, and that's why we had him apply for a variance.
Do you know where that would put, with this proposed awning, where does that put the square footage?
It's really hard when you're looking at that building because of the 6 businesses. you know, one side has some small signage, some has the door signage, some has one that's facing the north-south harbor already has an awning hanging over their deck. And then you go across the side of the building that runs along the highway or 3rd Avenue, and then you go through the parking lot. We counted well over, I would say, 20 signs that all met the criteria if you were just to do it with the business at the 200 mark. But this is one parcel.
Okay.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, the 200 is a maximum,
Yes.
correct? However, there's also maximums based on frontage, correct?
Yes.
So, the maximum shouldn't be 200 per building, the maximum would be the frontage for each individual, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I find this whole thing very confusing. For me to make any kind of proper judgment, I would need to know what all the signs are on all the buildings, their square footage, their location. And reading this, I came to the same thing. I didn't even know where this awning was. Was it to the north, to the east? We had one other variance not that long ago where we had not enough and misinformation on the application. And it made it for very confusing, and especially with the variance. I think it's really important that we have very, very accurate information when it comes to variances. And I would like to make a motion that we, well, I guess I'd like to make a motion that we postpone this till we have all the appropriate information, and I'd like to open it up to whatever other additional information other commissioners would like to see in the application.
Madam Chair, can I answer just so you know? As staff, when we went out and did the pictures, we don't go out and measure all the signs. Like there's no way that we can get up and do those measurements. We can focus on them, we can try to get an estimate, but there's no way that we're gonna go out there and measure every single sign that's on that building.
Okay, but let's see if this motion gets a second. So let's have some more discussion and
Absolutely.
see where it takes us. Commissioner Charbonneau?
Yeah, so is this sign in addition, if it's on that north side, there's already a sign on that north side, isn't there?
No.
No? I'm trying to figure
Is there a small one on the door?
There's a small one on the door, and there's one that faces on the side of the building facing the harbor master's
to the
office.
east.
Yes,
Okay.
but not to the north.
So, okay, so it's a brand new sign.
Okay, let's talk a few numbers. So this new sign is how many square feet?
48.
Okay, that's what I calculated, 48.
The awning, yes. Yep.
So the sign, it's
Yep.
3 feet high and 16 feet long,
Yes.
right? Okay. So according to the code prior to our amendment, each business could have had 200 square feet of signs.
Correct.
So those businesses are now non-conforming, and which is allowed. We can't go backwards and say, new code, take all
Correct.
your signs down.
Correct.
So this business with this sign and the sign that's facing the harbor master and the sign on the door, how many square feet of signage would this business alone have?
I believe that we measured it out, and it was right at adding the 48 and having him remove the ice cream off the side that said creamery would put him right about 200 square feet.
So we'd be going back to the old way we handled signage.
For the multiple businesses, yes.
And doing that is allowed by variance.
Yes.
And that's what's before us, is a variance to allow it. So any other questions that people are scratching their head about, not quite sure about?
Under
ahead.
our new
Commissioner Sharp.
sign protocol
Ordinance.
ordinance, how many square feet is that one business allowed within business park center that it's in.
So we took that out, originally, like Miss Eklund had said, we took it out, it used to be per business, so it
Yeah.
didn't matter how many there were. It was amended to read per parcel.
Okay.
So that, when you have multiple businesses in one building, that limits, if somebody were to come to us from one of the other businesses tomorrow and ask for a different sign, we would make them go through the same process as we're having Mr. Park do.
Okay.
Okay, so I
Go
think
ahead.
to clarify the question, I think the question is if this business was a standalone,
Yeah.
what would be the maximum?
200 square feet.
No, because we're talking about frontage now.
I'll
'Cause-
pull it up and read it to you, just a second.
And also, since this is multiple businesses within one building, do we divide up that square feet amongst each one of those businesses?
Well, if I understand the reason
That's
it's
what I'm
that way is
wondering.
it's requiring a variance is because it doesn't work. I mean,
Yeah.
200 square feet divided by 6 businesses is, very small sign.
Yeah.
So that's why it's requiring a variance
Yeah.
to make what's appropriate.
And they get to stay non-conforming because those signs were there prior to the
Well,
change
yeah.
in the city code.
Absolutely.
So if this building was if this business was the only building or business on this parcel, it could have 200 square feet of sign.
Yeah.
Now, if you went down the street a little to the north and you had one of the Breeze Inn parcels, those are parcels as well, and they have multiple businesses, and there are many signs.
Right.
So again, if they wanted to increase their signage, they would have to apply for a variance.
Correct, but if there's, okay, that's still not the question. The question, I think, and I have the same question, is say this business was sitting on its own parcel. Not the whole parcel, just the creamery, which has frontage on 2 different sides. And so there are limits to the amount of frontage you have, square footage based on how much frontage you have. And there's a second, if I recall, there's a second lesser number if you have 2 frontages. So you have, a square foot per lineal foot of frontage, and then if it's the second side, then you have another number.
Can you read that section for us if you found it?
Signs advertising, track developments, no, that's not what it is.
No.
I'm still getting there, sorry.
Okay, all right.
And then another question, I guess, is we were talking about leases and, and frontage, and then we talked about subleases. And who should be applying for this, the business or the parcel owner? I mean, this is one of those things that does the individual business ask for a sign, or does the parcel owner, who is managing all the businesses? And to me, I think a parcel owner who has subleases is the person that should be asking for a sign, because it's their property. And
if I
that makes that person have to manage all the properties equally.
And if I can answer that, we did contact the leasee the leasee, not the subleasee, and to find out if he knew about this sign permit or sign variance application. He stated he had no problem with it, but we did talk to him about the signs in general and told him the same thing, that if any of those businesses come forward, we're either going to have all the signs removed for that said business to comply, or bring forward a variance to give you guys the opportunity to either accept or deny. To answer your question, Mr. Swan, Harbor Commercial District, the following property frontages may be combined at 1 square foot per lineal foot of frontage to the maximum of 200 square feet per signage per parcel. A street, the harbor basin, the public boardwalk, where building faces towards a street but does not abut to it, or a public parking area. At the discretion of the property owner or property owner's total allowed signage may be allocated to the sides and rear of the lot not confronting above so long as it does not exceed the 1 square foot per lineal foot of that property line. Freestanding, projecting, or marquee signs, if internally illuminated, shall not exceed 32 square feet. And then it talks about a marquee or projecting sign to project over the public right-of-way may not exceed further than the street, then other than a marquee or other width of the sidewalk may not exceed 25 square feet over. That is what is in the Harbor Commercial District.
So this sign is 48 square feet. So it exceeds those.
No, that's it, only if it goes over into the right-of-way.
It
that-
said projecting signs,
says-
marquees.
Which project over public right-of-way
Oh, okay.
and may not extend farther toward the street.
Which
Okay.
this does. If I'm reading
It
this,
doesn't
this
go in
line,
to
no,
the right
is
of
this dotted line the property line?
What page, Mr. Swan?
I'm looking at page 15.
It's got a utility easement.
That's
we had
the
that-
utility easement,
That's
not the
utility
setback.
easement. Okay, so and the property line is then,
Right, it's like a double line. If you look right above, you'll
okay,
see.
okay, there's a double line which, okay, so it goes right up. So then we have a utility easement. And so it would overhang into the utility easement, but not over into the right of way.
Correct.
Okay, I've got it. But, so the frontage on this building is 34 feet-ish. Around at 35. So there should be a maximum signage, if we took just the building by itself, it would have a maximum of 35 square feet of signage.
And it's may combine at 1 square foot per lineal foot
So,
Right, 1 square foot per lineal.
So
for
30.
a maximum of 200 square feet.
Right, but if we took, this is,
I get you.
so if we're looking at the property line, I mean, you could probably stretch it and say that on one side of there, you might get 50. If somebody says if it's not a square corner and the property line is at a curve, I mean, you could say, if you took just this building, you could stretch it and say it had 50 square feet. Because there's a corner there.
Well, if you go out to the east, to the edge of the deck, it's another, is that 7.2?
Well, I gave it another 16. I said you
That
could
was
stretch it to 50.
No, that's more than that, yeah, it
And then,
is,
so
it
that's
is, yeah,
within the
another
48,
16.
within the 50.
So that's
That's for
48.
total signage.
Yeah,
And they have several other signs already.
Well, it's total signage with a maximum of 200, and then it also states that it's allowed to have signs on the side or the rear. So if you're taking the front portion, saying the front portion is facing the South Harbor,
uh-huh,
then you would have that 48, we would say 48 because that's what the awning is. And then he would be allowed the additional on both the east and west sides of his building up to a
But-
maximum of 200 square feet.
But I think you read it, they're allowed to put the signs over there, but that didn't, from what I heard you read, it didn't say you increased the square footage. It just allowed signs to be put in other locations.
up to 200
Up to
square feet.
200
at-
square
at
It's
feet.
always up to 200 square foot, but you still have a maximum based on your
Lineage,
lineage.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Linear
he's
footage
got-
of frontage to maximum of.
So
Frontage,
if you
which
take,
is- But it's still frontage, is not sidage or rearage. Those are two different things. Frontage is the front of your building. Not all the way around the building, it still just says to the front of your building, and I think that was the intent. And I remember us having a discussion when we were talking about the,
It also says projecting and marquee signs, a maximum of 50 square feet per side is allowed if you see section 1520 of what it talks about freestanding signs.
and this sign is also lit, right?
There's no lighting in it.
No.
I thought there was, I thought I read there's, what's this, this lighting underneath that makes it glow? I can't read it, it's too small here, but it says there's a light behind it, making it light up. I think
on
this
what
is a lit
page are
sign.
you? Oh, you think, where does it say
That.
there's a light? Oh,
Right there. Can you
Double
read that?
lamp LED.
It's a double lamp LED lighting the sign. This is a lit sign.
Oh,
It's set, you have a light behind it.
Oh.
okay.
Is the light down?
Excuse, Mr.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Park, could you come, either you or your son, could you come to the podium and answer the question about lighting?
There is no light.
Yeah, wait till you get to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Yeah, my name is YJ Youngjin Park. I'm owner of the Harbor Street Creamery. My address 215 Marathon Drive, and yeah, and just we don't have. There is no light.
Okay, if you have seen the packet, right on, down here, there's a black square and that says that there's LED lights there.
No, ma'am.
You-
There is no light.
that-
You mean in the this side? This side you mean?
Inside, it would be inside the curve of the awning, back on the side of your building. Is
Yes,
there a
ma'am.
light on the side of your
There is
building?
no light, ma'am.
There is no
Because
light.
It's very simple. My awning is very simple. Right now, in the check-in job, they have a
Captain
have
Jacks,
awning.
right,
same one.
okay.
They don't have any light.
Okay, so this was just your designer put a light back there
Yes, ma'am,
in
and
the
they just
state? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
all right, thank you for correcting that. Okay, so if we take the lineage from the front and the side, if that's how the code reads, this sign would be within the 200 square feet.
Sounds like it.
Okay,
Hell, I'm so screwed, because we still say lineage, if you took both sides, 50 feet and 50 feet, your maximum would be 100. It's 200 for the whole parcel. We're gonna give a variance, because that doesn't work in this case, I
Right,
totally understand.
right.
I'm not fighting that at all.
okay.
Something has to be right. But the limits is we're not gonna give each building 200 square feet. That's, you know, that's 1,200 square feet for this thing. If we take this particular corner piece, which you say the frontage, well, if you took two frontages, you know, for 4th Avenue and, you know, South Harbor, that would only be 100 square feet of lineage. But that isn't even correct, because there's another business, or maybe the other business.
The creamery's only that one
the
corner.
creamery's
And
only
Okay.
and then the restaurant's
Like,
on the other
okay, and then
corner.
the dog sled operation is farther to the south.
And the
that
dog
little
sled
thing.
is right onto the 4th Avenue in front of that deck, but that has nothing to do with Mr. Park's business.
Well, it does when it talks about what frontage is, because wouldn't that
And-
business have frontage?
If I can also answer that, yes, that is a building, but there is no signage. There's not, it is literally just has a mural that you can put your face in or stand next to that says Iditarod.
Okay, however, we're talking about practicality. That is still another business. Whether it's just, because if you want to say that it's, otherwise you'd have to call it just a sign. But it is a building, and someone's paying the lease for it. And it is east of the creamery. So if that building wanted to have a sign on it, they would have the right to have signage based on their frontage. If they have, you can't call the frontage two different places. I'm just trying to come with some realistic numbers on stuff. But 200 square feet, we've already, I mean, unless I'm completely out of line thing, and every business should have a 200 square feet. Then you better say every business everywhere should have 200 square feet, which,
This is a variance, which means they're asking for some leniency in the code. And so that's why they're here.
I got that.
'Cause- Okay.
I got, and I'm
So-
not fighting that.
No,
What
no,
I'm trying
I
to do is
understand.
find out, I'm trying to pick some other numbers so that we have a reference.
Okay,
Okay, and so if you say, you know, one of the leases is real small and another one's really big or something like that, there should be some kind of a reference, unless you just say everybody gets 200, because we can't come up with some, I mean, what is a realistic number?
Right now, they're a non-conforming lot.
Correct.
Right, they're non-conforming lot and we
I-
don't say grandfather, but they were there before the code changed.
That's fine.
So what's there is there.
Correct.
The only thing that we can ask in this case, that in my understanding, is if the signage on the building that, and including this awning, is over 200 square feet, he's gotta take something down.
Well, I don't see it that way because it's a variance and it leaves it quite open. We've got some stuff that is grandfathered. We're not messing with that. However, now you're putting a new sign in, which then can affect the old sign. So.
Right, that's what I mean. So if he wants this sign, it's 48 square feet, so
Yeah.
that he's using up 48 lineal feet
Sure,
for this sign.
Correct.
Now, what size is the sign on the other side?
right.
Is it,
And the other
bigger?
side, he's got 3 sides.
But these are 3 signs.
which is the one when you walk in the door that's across from the lighthouse? Are you talking about that side?
No, he's talking
Oh,
about
to
the
the parking
like where
lot.
the parking lot
To
is.
the parking lot? Is there a sign on that side?
He doesn't have a sign, he just has an ice cream.
An ice cream cone?
There's no wording on it.
Okay.
Okay.
So on the east side, is there a sign?
East side, you don't have a sign. I think it was also an ice cream that had creamery and it's no longer there.
So there's no sign on the east side?
The only other place that he has a creamery sign is facing the South Harbor parking lot along that flat stretch where they all have the signs and
Right.
the ice machine is there too.
And so, south, yeah.
South, yes,
At
sorry.
the, on the other side of the restaurant. It's
Yep,
not
and
even
he
a wall
doesn't-
of his building.
If you include this with his signage, he will be under 200 square feet. If you're doing it per business,
Okay.
but he won't be over the 200 square feet.
Probably
He has
under
one signage on his door
Okay.
that says creamery
Right.
on the window portion.
So, do we know how, large the sign is to the south in estimate? Bigger than a piece of plywood?
No,
Smaller, so-
it's like maybe a quarter of what a piece of plywood is, and I don't even think it's 8 foot.
Okay, so it's just kind of a standard.
It's just a standard straight sign that says the creamery.
Square feet, so he's at 70.
So based on our current code with the linear foot, how much signage is this building allotted? And how much over is this sign making is what I want to know.
Well, and that's, right, that's the question was before, and I thought we had a frontage, of 1 cubic foot per lineal foot of frontage.
So the north side is 34.3, so there's 34 square
But-
feet of a sign.
But it's also,
The deck.
On the side.
but it's also not, it's lineal, not of the size of the building, but of the frontage. So he's at a corner, the frontage
Oh,
is
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah,
That's where I
yeah.
came up with that estimate of 50.
Wraps
okay.
around.
And then the other side is 34.7.
So it sounded like it might not be over,
No,
so it might be fine.
it's,
I think
it's
it's
not over.
Without
it's
going
not
and
o-
measuring it,
Right.
looks like it's
Right.
fine.
No.
So, yeah, my argument is kind of just, is like coming up with some numbers that would be, because the next person comes up, and he says, oh, if we just say 200, then how do you stop the next person from saying, hey, I'm just gonna
No,
do
we
100?
just go with
And
our
everything.
current code for a linear foot per square
Right.
foot. Okay,
You know,
yeah,
Okay,
so
is there any further discussion?
I have one quick
Commissioner
question.
Sullivan?
Yes, Chairman, please. What I have is, will this sign obscure any of the other signs as it wraps around or anything like that? Because you say there's several other ones that are on there. Is that going to create
No,
a blocking of it?
On his business that faces South Harbor, it's going over his deck. It'll stick out over his deck, but none of it, on the other side where Captain Jack's is, there's the Mermaid Grotto awning, but there aren't any signs that this would block
Okay.
along this corner. And even when you got to I mean, it's set far enough back, the building is in the deck, even at the stop sign, it's not gonna obscure anything down 4th Avenue. It's just gonna be facing the South Harbor.
As I understand it, it's going to only be on the north side of the building. It's
Yes.
not wrapping around a corner of a building.
Okay.
It's just straight out, 16
And-
feet long.
Vice
3 feet.
Chair Swan was saying that because they're on a corner, he's doing the lineal foot from the South Harbor and the 4th Avenue, giving it that average of
Maximum.
50.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
And
Same.
without having all the rest of the sign numbers and just looking at this, it looks like it is with our current code within the code. So does it need a variance?
Except the code is by parcel. And so by parcel, it is not. By
Oh, okay.
business, it is, but by
Okay, so
parcel.
per
it's
business
not.
it fits in.
Yeah,
Per
and
parcel
so,
it doesn't. Okay.
this is a non-conforming lot.
Absolutely.
Non-conforming to the max, because it's got 6 businesses, which is legal to have 6 businesses on a
Yeah,
parcel.
yeah.
It's just the signage issue with our new code, but if they tried to do this today from scratch,
You have one.
they have the new code, where there's 200
And they would still need a
square-
variance because 200 square feet isn't enough for 6 businesses.
Well,
So
is
they
there
need to
really
do
little
something, and that's why they
signs?
still need a variance.
Really little signs.
I just can't have a variance at all. I just want to have it so we're
Or
not
they-
saying,
if-
we're not making a statement that says all businesses,
Yeah.
all 6 businesses have a right to 200
200
square
feet.
feet.
Yeah, correct.
And
They can
and
come
then
and ask for a variance.
They can ask for a variance.
Yep.
I just don't want to make it where it becomes a common that says, hey, we're just automatically going to do it so I mean, there's got to be something that when we say, when you run into this situation, why you're allowing a little bit more or a little bit less. And, I think in this case, I think the sign is very attractive, which does make a difference. We don't get to choose that.
Not yet.
And I think their total signage, I mean, that was one thing I would like to see in future applications. If people have multiple signs, we need to have the square footage of all signs.
Right.
And drawings of what they look like from each direction, because this, until we came in and talked, didn't help me at all. I don't know where this sign is, and there's no way to tell where it is. I want a picture of the building with the sign on it, and I think we've asked for that before. And I don't want to see applications come to us without good.
We'll make
And I
sure
don't
next
think-
time to add the
I
pictures.
don't
to each of-
think
Yeah.
it is the community development or our planning and zoning
Responsibility.
staff responsibility to get that footage. I believe that the applicant should submit that footage with their application. What is their current square footage of signage? And are they gonna take something down to and then put this one up in its place?
And I guess there's one other thing, before we go through, since we're staying on this subject, is I think this application actually should have come from the principal leasing, not the subleases, because it affects all of them.
I think maybe a sign off, but not have it done, because,
Go to the sign.
Well-
yeah. it's
And
real life.
that's, and just so you know, we've already updated our applications that will be just like the CUP, that they're the leasee. Then the person that actually owns the property has to sign off on it. So we've
That's a
done
good
that.
point.
That's why when we contacted the actual leasee, we were like, we just want to know that you're okay with this. And we also talked to the harbor because the city does run that entire lease.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so so that will help in the future, but at this time, if there's no further discussion, I will ask for a roll call vote on the motion. Okay.
So a motion to
Approve this
uh,
variance,
this, the resolution
Res-
2021-017.
yes.
Do we read the whole thing or?
No, you can just go with
All
that.
right. Sullivan,
Yes.
Swan,
Yes.
Charbonneau,
Yes.
Ambrosiani,
Yes.
Verhey,
Yes.
Jacqueline.
Yes.
This motion has been approved and passed.
Okay, we are moving on. No unfinished business. 9, new business. Number 1, Resolution 2021-018 of the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Seward, Alaska, recommending the City Council attest the City of Seward zoning map with the current updates. This is not a public hearing item, so I would like to have a motion in a second so that we can get the staff report. Well, remember, we tried that and the clerk corrected us at that meeting and said we needed the motion before the staff report. So is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2021-018.
I'll second that.
Motion by Charbonneau, second by Swan. Staff report, please.
I'm going to give you the staff report for this one, Madam Chair. The City of Seward has made various changes over the last 22 years. I just want to point out behind you, we have printed a larger map so you can see what it would look like, printed largely. Our goal with this, since I've been in community development and in planning, there's been a lot of confusion when we're moving forward with rezones, and a lot of history has to be researched, as well as for the applicant as well as community development. There's a lot of questions during a council meeting as well as planning and zoning meetings on how did this get zoned like this. So over the last couple of years I've been working on making a map like this that would show the ordinance number for the most current rezone.
Oh, I see that.
And so as you look at it, you'll be able to pull that ordinance up and see the history of how it got there. The other thing that we did was change the resource management overlay color. It is now beige. It's the cream color on the outside. Instead of it being a light green versus a park, actual designation of park. We as community development know that it is extremely difficult when people are trying to figure out what exactly resource management is, and because those colors were so close together, we chose to do a green or a cream so that people understand that there's the cream is resource management. It's not yet zoned per our code. It's not decided on what it should be. And then you have your actual park color being the dark green. We changed the tone of two-family or R2. It was again in the previous map. And I'm sorry, I thought that I had put this up there. In the previous map, your R2 was really, really close to your R3. So, and as it gets printed multiple times, the color starts to change. So we really changed the color of R2 to this other green. It printed pretty dark.
It's the same as the park.
Yeah, it printed pretty dark. We had a different color, but we can fix that.
Does it look different on the key? I can't
No.
tell.
No, it doesn't.
looks green. Park
Well,
looks different.
This park, this is normally darker. When we printed it, it must have not pulled the dark, it just pulled that lighter color. We had problems with one of our printers today. But our goal is to make it so it's really noticeable what your R2 is, what your R3 is. Again, for easy reference, how they became zoned, when they became zoned, and
As much as you could
as
find.
much as, well, we pretty much have, yeah, if it doesn't have a number,
Harvard Commercial R2 up there in the, this area doesn't have a
correct,
number.
and it's like from the very beginning of time, that's
Yeah.
what it's always
Oh,
been.
right.
But we tried really hard to add those ordinance numbers for easy research. Our goal to move forward is, get this map attested. It hasn't been attested for years. We normally just add what the resolution is and just print new ones. And so our goal is to get this attested, clear this out, start over as we do rezones and we do different things. And then, maybe in 22 years we replat it again or we reattest it. Our goal is to also include this portion. In previous maps, you can see that we had this right here. It gets confusing, so our goal was to move it up here and include that whole overview with these really highlighted on where the city limits is and how it lays out. Our other goal is to, you know, use this as our tool as you guys start going through your ground truthing. We'll break it up for the ground truthing purposes into those 8 districts that we spoke about, but this gives us the ability and any citizen the ability to really quick look up and see, why am I zoned UR? Why am I zoned AC? And see what the future land use is accordingly. So back to my, like I stated, our
Greens are different.
that we will definitely make, see, yeah, that's what I thought. We definitely had, see it on the screen.
Darker up here.
Yeah, and if you
Different
look
colors
behind
there.
you on the big screen, you'll see that
Oh, right.
the lime green is the R2 and the dark green. And we may change, we can change that to a different color altogether, maybe a, I don't know, bright yellow.
We're running out of colors.
You have
Orange.
yellow in single family.
Orange is resource management.
No, rural residential is orange.
Magenta. Wait, that's bright green.
Fuchsia.
Burgundy.
Burgundy, we could do burgundy.
Yeah.
But would it print too close to auto commercial? That's part of the problem. But a big portion was the resource management. Anytime anybody comes in with a question about resource management, you know, they look at it and they see green. And so as you look at the old one, that green really does not work when you're dealing with what is park and what is
Right.
resource management. If the commission requests or wants us to change the color of R2, we can definitely do that. Our goal is this map is something that we use in community development often, but we are not supposed to change the nature of the official map except for conformity with the procedures set forth in the title of 15-130. Any unauthorized changes whatever kind by any person or person shall be considered a violation of the title. So that is why we are asking for you to approve this change with the easy access so that we can use it in our office even more and provide a better search capability for the public. And that's it.
Madam Chair, I have a quick question for her.
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Sullivan.
Does that have access to, if you click on it and then it'll bring up the ordinance and any of the history on it? Is that what the
Hyperlinked.
Well, our goal with our new contract that we have a contract has been approved by council for us to work with our GIS company. They are doing a strategic plan and a needs assessment for GIS in general through the city. Our goal is to make that an item that would be a layer. You know, 3 years ago we incorporated the GIS on our website, which we had, the citizens didn't have the ability to go through. Our goal is to work with the borough to get their imagery, then to link it to ours as a list, and then you would be able to click on it on your property. It would tell you what you're zoned, and it would give that ability. Right now we don't, but it is something in the future.
So
that-
eventually you'll have that thing, you'll be able to do it with that.
Absolutely.
That map.
It will be a layer in the GIS program.
Okay.
So, I just want to make sure that the old one, for those of you who like that one or have used it so much it's like old hat, will be still part of the city records. So you can always get that old one.
And it's in the comprehensive plan.
Yes, it is. All right. Any further discussion from the commission on Resolution 2021-018? All right, roll call vote, please.
Motion to approve agenda item number 8.1, resolution 2021-018. Verhey,
Yes.
Swan,
Yes.
Ambrosiani,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Charbonneau,
Yes.
Eklund.
Yes,
This motion has been passed.
thank you. Takes us to item 292, Resolution 2021-016, the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Seward, Alaska, recommending City Council adoption of the Municipal Lands Inventory and Management Plan, the 2021 update. Motion and second to
I'll make a
put-
motion to approve Resolution 2021-016.
And I'll second.
Yep, motion by Sullivan, we'll give the second to Swan, and ask for the staff report, please.
We're trying.
Yeah, that's good.
The city of Seward is the owner and custodian of the public lands. As you have reviewed through public work sessions on June 1st, June 15th, July 6th, and July 20th, the attached muni plan with the changes, we have been asked to update it. It's been in your priorities for a while. The last update was done in 2014. The need to update the land management helps not only the Planning and Zoning Commission, but the council with the direction of what the council is wanting to do with public lands. We did postpone this from the previous planning and zoning meeting so that we could have a special work session to go over any changes that were required or requested by staff or by citizens. Those changes were incorporated, and what you have in front of you is the changes are in red. We have crossed through things that are to be removed. One of the ones was from page 48, the parking, the sliver. The sliver. We realized that through that it had been approved with a lease, and then they had the option to buy it. So the railroad owns it, and we've taken it off of our list.
Okay.
I understand Ms. Griswold is concerned about the light gray color that would be start on page 50. That is something that can definitely be changed to a darker color if requested. And then, like I said, anything that's red, we've added. Anything that's deleted, we've put a stripe through.
Okay,
Oh, I have one more thing.
okay,
When discussing small boat harbor, we did take the word small out of it unless it is in the legal description, because the legal description, the parcels, a lot of them reference small boat harbor because that is the title of the legal description.
okay. All right, I page 38 at the top, the changes, is that right? The state storage on the southwest corner of 5th and B, now that the current state shop is at 408 B Street? I think that wasn't the request that instead of saying the southwest corner of 5th and B, that we say the set storage at 408 B now that the current state shop is out of town?
Relocated.
Yeah, I think it's done.
Yeah, relocated. Yeah, I think that in Courtney was taking the notes and is new to town. So storage, I think it should say state storage on the state storage at 408 B Street now that the current state shop is located out of town or something like that.
Has been relocated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah,
Out of town.
has been, say out of town
Yeah.
because it's
out of
yeah, it's out of town.
It's not just
We're not leasing
Out
them
of
any
city
land.
limits.
Out of city
Ooh,
limits
there
would
you
be
go.
great.
like that.
Okay,
Sounds official.
Do you want to make an amendment to that, or are you okay with us just changing it?
Administrative change.
Administrative
Yeah,
change?
administrative, it's just the correct, I mean, we had the address, which I believe was another one of Ms. Griswold's recommendations, and I agree with the gray writing for all of the public facility lands titles, that needs to be, if you want it to be a color, I don't care, make it orange, do something to make it easier to read.
We'll make it,
Orange would be nice.
we'll make it orange.
And I'm gonna just go through the things I've circled, and then I'll turn it over to somebody else. On page 62, just a question as to why is the red in italics?
On
Just
page 60.
62 under waterfront park, the last section. It's just another faux pas.
It's the only
I mean, it was like, is there something special? I mean, we really wanted emphasis that we wanted that separated in the basketball courts and an ice skating rink, but I don't think we wanted italics. We would need italics or anything, but
Okay. It might
a
just be
flashing light
because-
might be better,
Do
so,
you want a flashing light?
yes. Okay,
We'll fix that
On that
later.
property, did we think
Yeah.
on that property, that would be a location, possible location for a rec center?
At what one?
we've designated part of Fort Raymond for the rec center because this is an outdoor, and we wanted something that was less expensive to start with.
Okay, yeah, I agree,
think that
yeah.
was our yeah, and that this would be better there.
I think so, yeah, I couldn't remember which one we ended up.
No,
thinking
I
the
think
rec
the
center was on.
recommendation for Fort Raymond is that a community center.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a good location for something that's not a large building, like, you
Yeah.
know.
I mean,
still have
you
some
can
nice
still
views.
I mean, this one
Yeah.
on the waterfront park?
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with you,
Yeah, you
yeah.
still have a view if we.
It would
put-
take up a lot of space there, I
Yeah.
think, in parking, so.
And so I see page 90 is my next question mark on
What page?
block
I'm sorry.
5, 90, page 90. It's block 5, it's all taken away.
Yes, because it was rezoned.
Okay, is that the one that the fire
Yes.
department, okay, just
And I included it up on block 3 because it was
block 3.
merged with block
Replat for
3.
the fire department, block 2 and block 5, perfect, good, so that's gonna go away. And that's it, that's all I had. And any typo, punctuation, spelling, grammar,
We'll do another.
just go through it again. I don't know if there's grammar, spelling, click on your thing, but keep clicking. Okay?
We'll keep clicking.
So is there
Do you
anyone
want to do
else?
that by amendment or just, if
The
we're
click-
passing it, it seems we should be making an amendment.
amendment about what I just did?
changes.
My changes?
Yes.
They were questions, I don't think, I guess, okay, I would like to amend the municipal lands plan to correct the location of the old state shop and that the new shop is out of town on page 38. And,
Change the italicized.
that one was, change the italics on page 62 to regular, Arial or whatever you were using for your print, not italics. And the other ones were just questions that cleared it up.
And change the land from gray to orange.
Yes, change the public lands from gray to orange, and I think that was it.
Madam Chair, looking at the.
Can I get it?
Sorry.
Can I see if that motion, that amendment is passed? I
Well,
mean,
I-
see if it's second. I need a second.
Oh,
Well,
I made a motion to amend.
okay, maybe somebody else has amendments, so I thought maybe it was a little premature to ask for an amendment.
Well,
No, you have to.
we have
go
to
in
ask
order.
One at a
for
time.
amendment, then to get a second, and then to see if that amendment's gonna pass, and then we can take another amendment and
Okay.
see if that's, then we go back to the main motion. So is there,
I'll second.
second by Charbonneau. Okay, someone else have any amendments to the municipal lands?
Oh, no, we need to vote on that.
Okay, vote
amendment.
on that amendment.
Okay,
We're gonna vote on that amendment.
this is a motion to approve the amendment to correct where the state shop is located. The wording, change the italics, and change public lands from gray to orange.
Mhm.
Basically, Verhey,
Yes.
Ambrosiani,
Yes.
Charbonneau,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Swan,
Yes.
and Eklund.
Yes. Okay,
That motion is passed.
and now, if we don't have any other amendments, we'd go back to the main motion. So Commissioner Ambrosiani?
I had a question on you said the Fort Raymond property is where we would consider a,
What page?
What page?
oh, sorry, 85.
85.
It's where we would consider a rec
I
center.
thought
or
we
city
did
center.
have that in there.
It is on page 85, it says review possibilities for city-owned recreation center and public works building, Selwa Soundland development.
On the bottom, so you have to go,
It goes
Over.
it goes from 84 to the top of 85.
Oh. wait a
And it's
second.
because all the
Yes.
corrections, once it gets totally, everything gets removed and approved, then it will be all on one page. It's just not right now because of all the
Oh, okay, it's
revisions.
the Air Force Rec
it's at the
Camp.
top of,
Okay.
yeah, former Air
former.
Force Rec Camp,
Yep,
the
okay,
top
I
of
was looking under Fort
85.
Raymond, okay.
Okay?
Awesome, thank you.
Any other questions, or is there any other amendments?
Madam Chair, I do have a question. Reference the letter that Ms. Griswold gave to us. I have a quick question regarding, I know there's a lot of administration changes and a variety of things that she had mentioned. I think that will be taken care of by administration that for the formatting and the rest. But the item where it says, she has action items section to highlight issues that should be addressed now and not remain buried in the document. Ones that we have had, and I don't know if that's a difficult thing to do or consider, is, for example, the one that she cited here, former City Hall or annex, the property that needs to be addressed where the individual has a property next door that needs to have the city as being insured because of her staircase that goes into the city property. You know, that one that's right
That's
next to the food bank.
beyond the scope of the municipal lands
that's not the
inventory.
muni land
That's-
plan.
That's an insurance.
Okay, so that's,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, this is about what we'd like to do with municipal lands, our
Okay.
recommendation.
Okay, I didn't know if there was any additional changes or something. Okay.
Anything else on this item, resolution 2021-16? Okay, roll call please on the main motion.
A motion to approve Resolution 2021-016
As amended.
as amended. Swan,
Yes.
Ambrosiani,
Yes.
Charbonneau,
Yes.
Verhey,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Eklund.
Yes.
This motion has been passed.
Thank you. That takes us to 9.3, a joint work session with the Flood Board and the Port and Commerce Advisory Board on August 11th, 2021 at 6 p.m. And the topic would be the Seward Airport and preliminary right-of-way acquisition plat. Okay, anything to add to that?
The
Just the
only
request?
thing is, it was by request from you, Ms. Eklund. We will be having it at the community room. It will be televised.
Okay.
That way we have enough space for all the commissions. One of the things I just really want to stress is that this will be only discussing the right-of-way, not the airport project. We have nothing to do with the airport project.
This is the right-of-way plat.
Yes.
The plat, as
Yes.
it came to us. No changes have been made to it.
No.
It'll come back as it was in our packet, so if we want to look at it again, it's in that packet. I do have a question. Someone said to me, well, it's not a right-of-way about the land, it's the right-of-way about the air above the land. What? Is it on the land or is it about the air above the land?
It's both.
Both. Okay.
And I promise we will explain it in detail on the 11th.
Okay.
We've got a lot more questions that have been asked and answered. We're going to be able to give you a lot more input on the project as far as it is with this right-of-way.
Okay. I may have mentioned it when it came up at our meeting last on this, that when a plat comes, which this plat comes to the borough, that any property owner who owns property that's involved in that plat needs to sign off on the plat. Now, being this is a preliminary plat, they might say before the final plat comes, all the property owners need to have to sign off on this plat.
Yes.
Is that the process that you see happening?
Madam Chair, we do see the plat, the preliminary is for the city of Seward's portion. They included the other portions, but those will come forward to the borough with those signatures. For us, the right-of-way is for the city property. It's the city property that's involved, the tidelands that are involved. They incorporated both the Civil Air Patrol and Mr. Lechner's Lear's property, just as a reference of what the whole or overall, but we don't have anything to do with their portion of the right-of-way, what they're doing with DOT.
Right, but when a plat comes to our body,
Yes,
it's going to go from our body to the borough, and it can't be piecemealed, like it's gonna come to us, oh, this part's just for the city, and then we're gonna get a second one, this part's for Mr. Lear, then we're gonna get a third one, and this part's for Civil Air Patrol. We don't do three times on one plat. It is the plat. The plat
Right.
is all those properties. They're not gonna piecemeal a plat. So when it comes to us, that was my biggest concern, was that at the meeting, we didn't hear from Civil Air Patrol or the other property owner, Mr. Lear. We didn't hear anything.
so you want to make sure that when it comes back forward to the next, because it was postponed to your September meeting, that you have Lear and Civil Air Patrol.
Well, that, I would like to know, I mean, if we're saying we're gonna approve this, I don't wanna approve it over a personal property owner and say, well, we just wrote it off and you're gonna do it.
Well, I'm
No,
sure
it's-
they'll both be at the meeting on August 11th.
Okay, I would appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, any other discussion on the airport right-of-way plat?
On the meeting.
On having a work session on August 11th.
Okay.
Is everyone going to be able to make that meeting?
I will.
August 11th is a Wednesday.
We sent out a
Next
notice,
Wednesday?
everybody pretty much said that they would be there.
Okay,
Did get a quorum?
we got a quorum. All right,
I won't be there.
you're not going to make that?
You didn't respond.
Okay.
I just did.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if Mr. Cease is still in quarantine. Okay. All right, moving on to 9.4, another joint work session, this time with City Council, and it is on the item we approved our recommendation to them at our last meeting, review the Seward City Code regarding dwelling, housing, and lodging.
Madam Chair, at Monday night's meeting, it was removed from consent for introduction with the council. It was requested by a council member to set a work session to go over just their questions and concerns on certain items. We were told by Mayor Terry that she would send us the questions prior to, so we can help answer them. Councilmember Casagranda also stated that she had some concerns and questions. She's not going to be in attendance at this meeting, but the council did they did vote upon having this joint work session, so we bumped your regular August 17th topic to September 21st. We have asked all council members to any of the questions that they may have to give them to us previously, so we can be fully prepared for their questions. And they wanted to meet with the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Will
Ms.
we need a
Cos-
quorum of both
Yes.
parties for this
Yes.
to, and do we have that in response yet? That we'd have
You had
quorums?
you had all stated that yes, for the September, or for the
August.
original ground truthing. We had a quorum from you at the last meeting for that, so.
And you're gonna hear whether the council's gonna make it or not?
The council is gonna make it, they voted on Monday night, the only one that will not be there is Ms. Casagranda. She also believed that there was not enough public input, so she just wanted to confirm that the public was aware.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so-
on that, that's a difficult date for me, and I'm not sure that I'd be able to make it.
Okay. Anyone else?
Which date was that?
The
That's the
17th.
17th of September.
No,
August.
August.
Oh,
It's,
August.
it's our regular work session
I
night.
won't be able to make that one either.
It's our regular second meeting of the month, and we're not gonna discuss what we were gonna discuss, but we're discuss this one again. So,
Yeah, my
Fairhaven.
wife flies out that night. If
Okay.
it became an issue with a quorum type of thing, then arrangements could be made.
Oh.
It's just,
all right,
and I.
1,
don't-
2,
I'll be here.
3, 4, so we'd have 4, okay. And maybe Gary, so maybe 5. Okay, so we're moving that on to our calendar as the topic and the date. And then the 5th one is, as the director said, to reschedule our topic on ground truthing and land use table process to our work session in September at 6 p.m. And I will state now that we can still Zoom in or phone in to meetings. Is that
No,
still?
cannot.
We cannot.
Nope, there's no emergency order, they are not allowing them.
As soon as the governor took the emergency order out,
When was that? When did
like
he
a
do-
long time ago.
Okay, well, the borough is still allowing Zoom and
The
phone
council
calls.
is not allowing it, nor is planning and zoning or any of the other commissions.
Okay, well, I will not be in attendance at September meetings. And what's October look like? I will not be in attendance at the October 4th meeting either.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Yeah, believe that you never take time off.
Yeah, well, I have two events in Minnesota, one end of August, one beginning of October. I'm not gonna fly down there twice, so, sorry.
Take all the fun out of it.
Okay, so, that takes us to, 10, and hopefully we'll get a quorum for this 21st. We can talk about it in the next
Yeah,
couple
we'll
of
make
meetings.
sure to add it on to the September meeting also, just so,
Okay.
that
And
first
you'll
meeting.
hopefully be here to chair.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh, what date is it? The September?
All the I'll be gone September meetings and the first meeting in October.
So September 7 and 21st.
September
Right.
7, 21st, October 4th.
Nope, I'll just make it.
You're gonna make it?
I will
Okay.
leave on the 22nd.
Of September?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
And be
close.
gone on October 4th?
I don't know about that.
Okay. Okay.
We'll
I will-
figure it
I
out in
will.
September.
Okay, all right.
Figure it out.
I could be back on the 12th of October if we have to move that October 4th meeting. Would it be the 12th or the 11th?
Let me look at the calendar.
It's the 12th.
It's the
Select
12th.
people do that.
I could, if we had to adjust, I would be back on the 12th
Okay.
of October.
We'll figure it out.
Okay, so we're on our informational items and reports now, item 10. I don't know what PAS is.
So
Quick
we
notes.
we usually have commissioner notes. The APA, the American
Right.
Planning Association, has changed those a little bit, so they keep calling them PASs.
Planning Association script? What is
Maybe.
it? Planning Association,
So they've decided that we'll get these quick notes like
oh,
every other month.
advisory service, that's what it is, okay.
And so it's just to give you some strategic foresight on how long-range planning is important, how to work the overall planning in general. I thought this was a good article to include since we were supposed to be moving forward with ground truthing, but we'll do that in September. And you'll also, in the next couple weeks, receive an email with a link. You as commissioners will be able to attend at your leisure to watch a webinar about ground truthing.
Oh, thank you. Finally, okay. We kind of discussed the planning and zoning meeting schedule, which is item B, and the city calendars. Is there anything of note you wanted to mention?
All I want to say is good job, Lydia. I forgot, and
Oh, yeah.
let the commission know that they're working on doing a parade on Thursday night
Night.
at 6 o'clock, I think, is when they're starting it. They're in the process of getting the route together, but they'll be blasting it out here shortly, just to give everybody an update for calendars planning.
Okay.
Thursday, as in 2 days from now?
Yes,
She's back.
She's in the
she's
state.
already back.
Yeah.
She's
she's
gonna
in the
ride
state.
on something big, like a fire truck, or?
Their goal
The
is
hook and ladder
to,
all the way
Yeah.
up. I mean, that's like all the way.
so just because of COVID and the numbers and
Yeah.
the spike, their goal is to have Lydia and her family in a vehicle. They'll do the parade. And then my understanding is they're gonna go out and get on a KFT boat and pull out in front of Scheffler Creek there, and she'll be talking over a loudspeaker to people out onto the parking area there.
That's the preliminary plan right now,
Yes.
weather dependent. Okay, all right. Okay, commission comments. Commissioner Sullivan.
I'd like to thank the planning department for all the hard work that they have done. It's amazing because it's a lion's share of work, plus with all the paperwork that you have to put out, and then acquiring the new the laptops or the services for us. That'll be a big help, and it's still like drinking from a fire hose about all this learning it. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Commissioner Verhey.
Yeah, thanks for the laptop. That'll be awesome.
Look,
Save a
and
lot
she's
of
got hers
paper.
up and running.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, yeah. That's it.
Commissioner Ambrosiani.
Yeah, thanks for laptop, that's gonna be, or tablet, that's gonna be great. I won't have tons of paper all around. And then I think we all, staff included, my God, we got through that municipal land inventory. We should have just took a moment of silence after that. Honestly, that's been a bear.
It was an Olympic event.
Yes, it was. Should get something for that.
We gotta get at least a copper medal or something.
Tin.
Commissioner Nathaniel Charbonneau.
I'd like to thank Jackie and Courtney for all their hard work, and Courtney, nice job at working this meeting, and I appreciate these packets, and we'll do it on computers.
Vice Mayor Swan.
Different than thanking, I wanted to make a comment when you were making your changes. What I was saying is I think it did not need to have, if we'd opened it up for more discussion, other people might have had other changes they wanted to put in, which they didn't. But I think we could have had more of a talk and make an amendment that included multiple people's changes if multiple people wanted to make changes.
Right.
And I kind of felt like I was being rebuffed because I tried to make that point. And I'd like to at this point say, I don't think we have to make an amendment for each person's change. In any method we want to get around to it, we can make an amendment with the changes.
In here, I thought you were pushing me to make an amendment prior to everybody getting to discuss, so we were totally on two different planes at that time, Vice Mayor Swan. I was like, he wants me to make an amendment now? I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and make that amendment now. But
There were two things going on. One was, I thought that we needed to make an amendment, not just say those changes were correct.
Right.
That was one issue.
Okay.
The second issue was, we can all make our changes because,
Yeah.
we're, all right, I just want to make that
Okay.
clear. And, and then, of course, I appreciate not only staff, I appreciate everybody's work here. And I think it's a privilege for me to work with you and Carol. It's a privilege having you keep on us. And I greatly appreciate all the work that you put into the things that you brought forward. That's all.
Thank you. And I I'm amazed at how much we have done. And I appreciate the real attention that as the commission comes on, you guys have really dug in and worked at what this is. And Carol is always going to help us get that work lined out, which I appreciate. I appreciate we should give her a medal for being our most attending public. And, which I would, yeah, I know and hope that that's always the case, that we have that type of input. And commission, citizens' comments. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Please come to the podium. I think you need to click the mic on again, Jackie.
I think it's on.
Well, Carol Griswold, City Limits. I don't know if I can keep helping you guys because you don't listen to very much of what I have to say. So, maps. Looking at that map, the new map, I now see that it's beige and not white, but on the handout and actually even on the overhead, beige and white were so close that I really thought they were both white. Plus, I'm really used to that off green, which I think is a really fine color. But it is a challenge to draw a map with, you know, there's books about how to do it on a globe. But I can't see the bottom of it because Cindy, your chair's in the way, but it seems like towards the bottom there it was cut off from what we had on our old map. And that Tidelands built south of the Sea Life Center was zoned white or beige, I don't know what it is.
It's beige, it's
But on the
resource.
old map it was CBD, so that should be consistent.
In the old map, it's also resource management.
Below the Sea
little
Life Center?
purple. Uh-huh.
Okay, well, then I misread it on the map. Okay, thank you for that. This is a great opportunity to look at SMIC. So much is going on over there, and it's an inset. That and Nash Road should be its whole separate map, just like that big one, because nobody knows what's going on over there, and you can hardly see it. The Nash Road section of our city limits is way up there in the top corner. It doesn't even have, I mean, I zoomed in so close to get numbers and stuff, and then compared it to the parcel viewer to pull that up big. It's really hard to tell what's going on there. So we need a second big map that enlarges the east side of the bay, because we don't really understand what's going on over there. And also the north side of town, there's a lot going on, the transfer facility, floods out there, Japanese Creek, and the map just kind of cuts it off. And then you can see on the inset, oh, it actually extends quite a bit. And oh, guess what? We own half the slope of Mount Marathon and Little Bear. We own that, and we own above the cannery, and we own half the slope of Mount Alice and a whole bunch of stuff south of 4th of July Creek. But if you don't see it, you can't visualize it, you can't plan for it, you can't know it. And I just love maps, and I think we're being shortchanged by not showing in greater detail what our city encompasses. And also, there may be ordinances for the east side of the bay that you will never be able to read on these tiny inserts, and that's valuable information. It took a lot of research to put those on there. I still think it should be a separate note because it gets, you know, kind of confusing to see everything on one map, but there's just not room for it. So the discussion on the variance was very interesting. You covered a lot of ground, and I appreciate that very much. But as noted, you didn't have enough information to really see what was going on. There are more than just a couple signs for the creamery. and more signs that just have an ice cream cone. He's got signs all over the place, north and south, east, west, highway sign. And the question's like, well, how much square footage does he already have? We don't know. How many signs are there? We don't know. And that's where pictures could really help, and you can maybe estimate better. But you spend a lot of time trying to figure out what do we have here. And I went down there. I didn't see the notice sign. I hope there's one on each frontage, because that's what our code requires. But there's so much clutter there, I didn't even notice, you know, if those signs are posted. But I'm going to go down after the meeting and just look again when it's not quite so busy, because that's a crazy place to go try to get information. The McSwain Associates leases, we should be including the chamber sites. We should know how much the Salmon Derby site is worth and the chamber building site. A bunch of other stuff. But thank you very much.
Thank you. It is now time for Commissioner response to citizens' comments, Commissioner and Administration response. Is there anyone on the Commission that would like to make a response? I would like to ask the Administration to include the chamber sites on the McSwain appraisal list. Is that possible?
It is not. Those appraisals that we're working with is dictated by the administration's budget, and they do lease appraisals. That's already been done. These are additional, and they're the upcoming leases and or sales, and that's why we've been tasked with it in community development through administration.
Okay.
I can gladly
make an inquiry, please.
Yeah, I
can
put an email through to the city manager
see if they
and
can
ask that.
fit it in the budget.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive.
Well, because we in our recommendation under municipal lands, we asked that the Derby booth be donated 1 month and then at least the other. So in order to do that, we would need to know the appraised value.
And all the harbor properties have been appraised. It was appraised last year.
So that one should have been. So, okay, good.
They would include, the harbor master gets all of those. We had them all done, and that's when he includes them in any type of lease renewals, because it has to be based off of that.
Right, you did say they were in charge of the lists.
Can I make a comment to administration?
Yes.
So, the point taken, I tried to make the point when the variance came up. I feel strongly because it's quasi-judicial, and we are not allowed, unless we're as a body, to go down and inspect a piece of property. And this is a situation of going, unless, okay, I can't go down there and privately inspect it to see this type of thing. I think it's very important when these variances come in that we get an overwhelming, I don't know how else to say it, but I think it's correct. We need overwhelming. We've had 2 variances. I guess we did have 1 variance sign up that was fine, but in my opinion, we've had 2 variances come forward with inadequate information for us to be sitting here and acting as judges, which is a semi-judicial proceeding that we're in. I don't know. I just, the question is about, and if we have to get more information from the applicant, then that's it. If it comes to us and we ask for it, I guess I'm talking to anything, if one of us is asking for more information than what's provided, then I prefer that we all kind of follow that up, because it's not planning's job to get these things. If the applicant doesn't provide it, then it really is for us to say, nope, we're not going forward unless you provide it. If we start doing this, then we're going to start getting, and planning can then just say, well, this application, you have everything we asked for, but I'll tell you it's going to get bounced back. And then we'll get the information we want with something like this. But this is we're doing a judicial proceeding. It's not a lot, we don't do that many of them. But when it comes forward, I think we really have to have really good information. And I think accurate information, especially like all the square footage and all the square footage for the whole place. This is one parcel. I would have liked to know what the total square footage of all signs were, and additional information like that, and something like that. And Anyway, that's fine.
I will follow up and just say it was helpful to have the applicant in the room and to be able to ask questions. And I hope that every time we have a variance, the applicant does come. I think that's been the case. And I do agree and hope that we can add the recommendation that the lessee, not the sub-lessee, is also on there, and that more information about the size of the current signs and things like that.
Whatever the
On
variance,
that-
whatever
on
the
that.
variance is.
Right, yeah, whatever the variance is. Any other citizens or administration comments?
I would just like to comment on Mr. Swan and Ms. Griswold's remarks about the overall signage. As I stated before, and I know that you guys agree, there's no way we can go out there and do it. I just want to state, as far as this variance, there was a lot of back and forth. The drawings that you guys got are because Courtney really pushed the sign people, because we sent them pictures of their building and said, please put it on the side of it. The gentleman that's making the sign is not that computer literate. Like, he doesn't put things on the picture. We couldn't make the applicant understand what we were needing. So we did go back and forth. This has been for over the last month and a half that we've been dealing with this variance in general. I'm a little concerned where Mr. Swan stated that the last two variances didn't give information.
That's not correct.
Okay, 'cause
There's-
I'm like,
There's some
whoa.
other ones, I've been just spinning like that.
He's
We
been
had
here
another
too long.
variance.
And
No, I
just,
was just thinking of one other one where we had very poor information and we were trying to make judgments on, and I apologize.
and just to, again, this happened by the chance of us getting a phone call. They were ready to put the sign up. There are many signs in the harbor that have been put up, and because we do not have code enforcement, we can't do anything about it. We send the letters and we do what we need to. But for us as a planning department, us getting him through the door and to pay the variance application fee and do all of that was a huge task, because he could have just put the sign up and we would not have been able to work with him like we have. And so that's our hope, is that we can get all the businesses even on that parcel, because the other awning, there's no business, no sign permit for that other awning. And there's many awnings in the harbor that do not have sign permits. So we're trying to work with every applicant as much as we can. And we will make sure that we get pictures from now on and we'll provide them. We can also try to just put some arrows on our mapping that we give you so you know where it's located. We can work on that. But I just want you to know that there's a lot of these that are popping up, and we're only hearing about them either after they've already been put up or because by chance.
Yeah, if you could add lines on that application, what are the sizes of your current signage? Will it remain? Will it come down? Something
Yep.
like that.
We will.
Would be helpful. Okay, and if there's nothing else, I'll just remind everybody that got their laptops to sign their policy and get it back to administration, and I will take a motion for adjournment.
I'd like a motion for adjournment.
So moved. We are
Yeah,
adjourned.
I'll give it.
Oh,
You signed it.